Hi, my name is YT Liang, and I'm the Senior Product Manager from ATEN Technologies. Welcome to InfoComm Connected 2020. Today, in our 20-minute presentation, we are going to talk about how to choose between different streaming technologies and why. So let's get started with our agenda. So we'll start with talking about two main different streaming technology. One is WebRTC, and the other one is RTMP. And then after knowing the foundations and characteristics of these two different technologies, we will bring up 5 qualifying questions to help you to decide which one you should choose for different applications. And then, of course, the most important thing is we provide solutions for both the WebRTC, which will be our VP presentation switch series, as well as the RTMP, which is our UC9020. And then toward the end, we will talk about 3 application examples. So we'll give you the scenario, we'll give you the background, and we will ask you, so which technology would you go for? At the end, we'll have a 1-page of a summary. So now let's talk about the streaming technology number 1, WebRTC. So WebRTC stands for real-time communication for the web. So you can see RTC actually stands for real-time communication. So if we look at the official description on the WebRTC website, you can see a couple of important characteristics. It says with WebRTC, you can add real-time communication capabilities to your application that works on top of an open standard. So right now we already know that, okay, cool, it's going to be a real-time, and it's actually a kind of open standard, open protocol. On top of that, it supports video, voice, and data to be sent between peers. So now we're seeing 4 important things about WebRTC. It's real-time, it's an open standard, it sends video, voice, and data, and it's sent between peers. So with that being said, let's take a look at the connection diagram. And this picture comes from the official WebRTC organization. So as you can see, let's say today, if we have Alice on the left-hand side with her camera and microphone, and she's using Chrome. And we have Bob on the right-hand side who also has his own camera and this microphone, and he's using Firefox. And today they want to talk to each other. For example, it could be a video conferencing. In that case, they can reach out to a WebRTC server to send a signal, and then 2 of them can build up a peer-to-peer connection. So by looking at this connection diagram, and kind of echoes back to the description. So the first one, real-time, for sure, because they want to talk to each other. And the second one is open standard. That makes sense too, because again, you're seeing Alice using Chrome and Bob using Firefox. And it's gonna send their video coming from the cameras as well as the audio. So this is the first streaming technology, WebRTC. But how about the second one, RTMP? So what does RTMP stand for? And you may notice we put another terminology here called CDN. Well, let's start with RTMP. So RTMP stands for Real-Time Messaging Protocol. So you are seeing some similarities here, but again, with the official description from Adobe website, you can see it's also an open spec, and it helps to deliver the video, audio, and data. So until now, you're thinking, it sounds kind of similar to me of WebRTC versus RTMP. But here, and then that's why we are putting down this keyword called CDN. So basically, CDN stands for Content Delivery Network. So what that said is, okay, imagine, think about the platforms we all know about: YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitch for gaming. They are all CDN service providers. So what they can do is, they say, you know what, go ahead and give me a video, and I will help you to distribute your video to the world. So let's take YouTube as an example. And by the way, this flowchart comes from the YouTube website. So let's say today, if we have a computer and we have some video that we want to stream to the world, to the public, then with YouTube Live, there will be some kind of YouTube stream key involved. But the protocol, the open specification that they are using is the RTMP. So now we know the reason why RTMP is kind of different from WebRTC is because the CDN service providers are using RTMP as the protocol to communicate the video, the voice, and the data. And if we take a further look of the connection diagram, this is something we Pro-AV people are pretty familiar with. So here you can see there are microphones that can go into an audio mixer. There are cameras that can go into a video mixer, and you may need some kind of hardware encoder to put them all together and then utilize the computer to access the internet and then send to the CDN servers through RTMP. All right, so now we know WebRTC, RTMP, and then that's why we came up with 5 qualifying questions that we think you should ask yourself first, or even you should ask your customers first in order to decide which technology that you're going to use. So these 5 questions are, the first one, definitely the number of attendees, the viewers, who are they going to be? So if today you are talking about peer-to-peer, well, WebRTC might be a good choice. But if you're talking about, hey, I want to send a video out to the world for the public to see it, then definitely RTMP with CDN. The second question is it going to be private or public? Well, for sure, if you want it to be private, for example, like corporate meetings, then WebRTC. But if you want to go public to the world, like to the YouTube channel, then RTMP. The third one is the network. For the WebRTC, it can be the intranet. But for the RTMP and CDN, of course, because you need to talk to those CDN servers, so you will need the internet access. And the next 2 will be very important as well. The fourth one is the latency. So the question is, okay, in my scenario, in my application, do I need something with really low latency? Or it's okay, it's acceptable to have some latency. If it's like real-time, no latency, it will be WebRTC. But with some latency, because again, you have to upload your video to the CDN, and the CDN has to process your video in order to put on the platform. Definitely there will be some latency. Usually it could be 5 seconds, 15 seconds, or even a minute. So that leads to our last question, which is, does your application need to be very real-time interactive? So if the answer is yes, WebRTC, but if you can accept with some delay, for example, again, put your video, and you can also see some chats within some period of time, then that will be RTMP. And here we would like to share with you that, again, we ATEN would provide solutions for both. So if today you're talking about WebRTC, then the VP series, such as the VP2120, will be a good option. And if you're talking about broadcasting to the world, to CDN service, then that will be the UC9020. So again, today, I think we only probably have 10 minutes left. We're not going to talk about the detail of the products, but instead, we'll just have one slide for each one of them. And then we will jump into the 3 applications. So let's start with the WebRTC, that's the VP2120. So as you can see, the product description here is 2 keywords, I'll say. 1 is the multi-streaming, and 2 is the quad view. So let's take a look at the back of the VP2120 first. So by looking at this picture, you can see here we have 1 HDMI in, but we have 2 HDMI out. Then you will be wondering, why would you only have one HDMI in when you have two HDMI out? Are you some kind of DA or video splitter? Well, the thing is, remember we mentioned it supports streaming. So what it can do is, of course, here you can have a local input, for example, a PC in your meeting room to plug into the HDMI input port. But at the same time, you can also utilize the wireless AP to accept video coming from different participants from either their smartphones or their laptops. Not to mention, there could be other participants in other places over the world, and then to access this VP. And then with the two HDMI output port, the best part is you can have a display that's playing the presentation slides, but at the same time, you can have another display that's doing multi-view. So you can look at the multiple video content in one single display. And then if we look at the front, push buttons to help you do switching, also on the knob to adjust the volume. And another part of my favorite, I'll say, solution is what we call HDMI Lock Pro. So what you can do is, you see this little screw on top of the HDMI connector. Well, with this little yellow tie, you can lock your HDMI cables firmly with the product. Alright, so now let's take a look at the second one, which is the RTMP, the UC9020. So it's all-in-one multi-channel AV mixer. As you can see, this is the UC9020. So you are seeing some buttons here, you are seeing a T-bar here, and you're also seeing an iPad here with a USB Type A to either USB Type C or Lightning, depends on the iPad that you're using. But the thing is, this unit, as you can see, you can have multiple input sources. To be precise, it would be two HDMI input. And then with this unit, you can use the iPad to edit your scenes or different scenarios. So as you can see, you can do PIP, you can do PBP, you can have some special effect, and then you can have it all added and output to the PGM output, HDMI output port. And remember, we mentioned what makes RTMP powerful is because of the combination of CDN services. So here, this one can go to the internet and then reach out to those CDN platforms and help you to distribute your video, the added video, to, for example, YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch. Okay, now we've looked at the technologies, the products. Let's take a look at the examples. So here we have three examples. So the first one is corporate meeting. All right, so pretty straightforward. There will be local people in the huddle space. They want to share the content wirelessly from their laptop or mobile devices to the display or projector. And definitely they want to share the content with the remote people and vice versa. It has to be real time and it should be private. In that case, which technology would you use? Which product would be beneficial for you? Well, here we will recommend the VP2120. So pretty similar. We have people here locally sharing from smartphone, notebook, and display contents to the TVs. But at the same time, through the corporate intranet, someone else remotely can also share their content. So this is example number one, corporate meeting with WebRTC, and that's VP2120. How about the second application, education? Well, for education, nowadays we're also talking about e-learning. So there could be multiple video content of cameras or training materials need to be shared. And also they would like to output to both the local display or projector and stream to CDN service. And they probably want to save the video for future video on demand. In that case, we would recommend the UC9020. So as you can see with the UC9020, you can have two HDMI inputs such as camera and presentation, and you can do loop out to output to your local display. But at the same time, the UC9020 can help you to stream to the internet and then to those CDN service providers. All right, now let's look at our last application, which is house of worship. And I want to say this is my favorite application because it's more flexible and it's got so as you see the connection diagram. Trust me, you can see the benefits coming out from it. So the background will be, again, multiple video content, cameras, slides. You want to do both local and CDN. And because of house of worship, you may need a video matrix because you have more input sources and you probably have multiple projectors. And because of the distance, you may also need extenders such as HDBaseT. And by the way, this application is not limited to house of worship. It's more like any live events that you want to do, both local and remote, or even esports. So now let's take a look at the connection diagram. So here you can see we have the video sources here, such as the cameras, and then let's take a look at the usage in local first. So they go into this video matrix, and then from this video matrix you can go to HDBaseT extenders and then extend to the displays or projectors. But at the same time, let's say if today you want to stream to the YouTube, what you can do is we can have the output ports coming out from the video matrix and connect to the input ports of the UC9020, and then you can stream to the YouTube. Even better, after you use the iPad to edit the video, you can have the output port of the UC9020 go back to the video matrix, so you can extend to these displays as well. And here, I would like to share with you another product of ours that I really like. So this is a HDMI in and USB Type-C out converter. So what it can do is it can help you to convert your HDMI video signal and send it to your laptop. And then with your laptop, you can use all the software to do a more advanced editing if you want. So that's it for our 3 applications. And here we come to a one-page summary. So really quick recap today. We talk about WebRTC, we talk about RTMP, what they are, what they do, along with the CDN. And we recommend 5 qualifying questions to ask before you decide which technology to go to. And we talk about 3 applications, including the corporate meeting, education, and house of worship, or we can say live events. And again, we have solutions for both our VP series and our UC9020. So this year, because of the COVID-19, InfoComm is going to be a virtual event, and we ATEN will also have our virtual booth. So go ahead and search for ATEN. You will be able to find us. And the best thing is between June 16th to 18th, within these 3 days, if you visit our virtual booth, you will have the chance to win 1 product per day. So these 3 products will be the UC9020, so the one with the RTMP technology, and the UC3022, which is the advanced model of the UC3020, the HDMI to USB Type-C converter, and also one of our presentation switch. And another thing is we're also doing another webinar on HDBaseT applications in the house of worship market. So please take a look if you have time. And last information we would like to share with you is we're here for you. So here we put down a couple of email addresses, including our sales team, marketing, my own email address, as well as our website, www.aten.com. So today, we're hoping you found this webinar beneficial for you, and definitely we know you will have questions because we didn't go deeper on the products or the specs. So please reach out to us through email, to website, anything, and we'll be very glad to have the opportunity to work with you and to help with any questions that you have. Thank you so much for your time, and be safe.